After a string of threats called into local schools here in central Mississippi, school officials assure folks they are safe. And I agree. We're going to go over to WLBT here in just a second. Don't forget you can buy my shirts. Help support your boy. Buyfafo.com. That's buyfafo.com. And look, they're marked down to $10 and $15. I'm launching some new designs, some new colors, and more this week. I'm trying to shake out a little bit of old inventory. We've got hoodies and more coming, so be paying attention. You know I'll promote it here because I am, in fact, a shameless self-promoter, and I have no problem pointing you guys in the right direction to help support your boy. All right, let's jump into it, man. This is over at WLBT. Schools assure safety following string of school threats. And I want to say something real quick before we dive into it. One thing I do give all of our local school districts the utmost credit and respect for, even JPS, as terrible as they are at everything else, the schools are safe. They do school safety right in Mississippi, and they have since the tragic mass shooting in Pearl back in the late 90s, when Luke Woodham, just tragic situation. Hate to constantly rehash that. I just wanted to give credit on the front end while everybody's still listening. So let's jump in over at WLBT here. This is a story that came out tonight. We're actually going to talk about it tomorrow on my radio show because I want you guys' opinions on school shootings and what you would do to make them safe.
Month alone, there's been a string of possible school threats here in the metro and surrounding areas. This comes after a school shooting in Georgia earlier this month. 3 on your side's Valencia Gavin speaks with school districts and law enforcement about how these threats are handled in your child's school.
So, Courtney, at least 6 possible threats were made across central Mississippi this month. School districts here in the metro say they are doing their part to keep their campuses safe after multiple schools investigated possible threats. One way to not report a threat is by reposting it on social media. This month, Northwest Rankin Middle School, Richland High School, Warren Central Junior High School, Mendenhall High School, Betty May Jack Middle School, and Terry High School all heard of possible threats. After investigations, no credible threat was identified at any school except Northwest Rankin Middle School. A suspect was arrested and taken to Rankin County Juvenile Detention Facility. Here in the Metro, school districts say most of these threats come from social media. Tony Chrysler with the Hinds County School District says making reposts is how things can get carried away.
Social media blows everything up, and you have to be very careful with that. But you also have to take it very serious because you never know when it's for real and when it's not.
Many times students see potential threats before their school does. Rankin County Schools Safety and Security Administrator Jesse Pagart says it's important for students to report them properly.
Instead of sharing things on social media that may be a rumor, go through our tip line. They can go through their administrator.
Safety is a top concern across the board with resource officers on campuses every day, and they increase security as needed during threat investigations, including metal detectors.
If you go to any campus in Rankin County School District and you ask the principal their number one priority as administrator, they're going to tell you the safety of our children.
If we feel that the school is unsafe, we will be the first person to say, stay away. The school is at a lockdown. We don't want you here. Please stay at home.
While districts are doing their part to keep students safe, law enforcement is working to punish the people making these threats. This could even mean felony charges.
We take all threats and all matters regarding our schools, our staff, students, administrators, and the school property itself seriously. Once we're able to identify them, then at that particular time, if we deem it necessary, they can and they will be charged with a crime.
Law enforcement is not responsible for how schools discipline students involved in threats.
We do not direct the school to do anything. The school can suspend, expel, send to the Learning Center, however it chooses to handle that matter according to its policies.
Not only are school threats here in Mississippi investigated by school districts and local authorities, the Federal Bureau of Investigations can also be called. Anyone making a threat against a school could be treated as a terrorist. Valencia Gavin.
All right, so again, we're very, very strict here on this stuff. They do not play games. Heck, I thought last year there was a video that popped up or a picture of one of the kids in Northwest Rankin parking lot with a BB gun, pellet gun, airsoft gun, something like that. And it was like a couple days later, and then they got arrested. And rumor was they were going to be charged with felonies. And I just kind of stepped up and said, "Hey, man, maybe expel them, whatever else. I think the felonies a bit much for a toy gun, in essence, being in the car or something or another." And look, it was stupid, the whole thing. And they ended up not going with felonies. They went with misdemeanors, which I think was still the right move. But I had no other problem with anything else they did with it. I truly didn't, because you do have to make an example of how serious that is. I mean, we can argue about the semantics of toy guns and all this, that, and the other. At the end of the day, they want to make an example that you don't F around and find out when it comes to guns anywhere near a school, real and or otherwise, because here's what happens. And, once you have time to digest things a little bit and you think about them, somebody with a toy gun gets mistaken as somebody with a real gun, and who knows what could possibly happen real quick. So I get it. As far as the threats go, these are multiple different things, right? So the threats, you got to take them serious. I mean, look what happened there in Georgia. There was a threat called in 30 minutes or so before the school shooting. So they were shooting up 5 schools today. And one of those and the first one was going to be the one that it happened at, Appalachia High. And that ended up being true. Now, the shooter's mother apparently tried to call in too and warn them of what she thought he was going to try to do that day, and they couldn't stop him in time. I don't an investigation will be had, and we'll be able to see how all that played out. The dad was arrested, etc. Now, the school threats, this is usually, but again, you got to take it serious, right? This is usually monkey see, monkey do. When there's one, there's usually going to be more than one. And of course, they did arrest this last week. There was the Northwest Rankin one. They ended up arresting some kid, and he's in Rankin County Juvenile Detention. They're not going to release his name. Which, I waffle back and forth on that too. I think they should in some cases. But look, I was a dumbass kid. Probably glad my name didn't get put out there when I got caught doing some dumb stuff. But then again, it wouldn't have really mattered at that time. It was pre-internet, be done over with and forgotten by the next day's news cycle. So I don't know. Then let's go back to teaching, to making schools safe. Obviously, teachers with guns is a good start for the ones that want to. Unfortunately, our education system is littered with left-wing nut jobs who don't want to be anywhere near a gun, so you can't depend on that. So it's like a crapshoot, basically, on if your kid is in a classroom with a good God-fearing, Second Amendment loving teacher who's willing to pay the ultimate sacrifice and possibly have to take somebody else's life to protect theirs and your children, or are they in a classroom with a rainbow nut job? It's a toss-up, and it shouldn't be a toss-up. They shouldn't come down to that. Teachers should be able to protect themselves. I 100% agree with that. At the end of the day, we should have armed guards at the doors of these facilities. They should be paid just like the Secret Service. They should be Secret Service level of security. We have some of the most secure churches in America right here in Mississippi. You don't think those same type people would be willing to volunteer and do it at schools? And I know I'm talking out both sides of my mouth. I'm talking about paying them, and I'm talking about volunteers. I'm just saying, at a minimum, you don't think that there'd be people lined up to volunteer to go through the proper training to be a school security guard? I think calling it a school security guard is almost an insult to the type of level of protection I'm referring to. But I think we need to really ramp up taking it more serious. We can send all this damn money to Ukraine. We can fix Jackson's water. The countless, endless other things we do with money, except protect our children. It's disgusting. The money we're giving migrants as they illegally come into America to sit around here and not do anything, just circle jerk, basically. I digress. We need to protect the children at all cost. We need to protect our educators, even the left-wing nut jobs, at all cost. We need to protect people in these soft targets at all cost, because they shouldn't be soft targets to begin with. They shouldn't be gun-free zones to begin with. We have Second Amendment rights in this country. Those shouldn't end where your fears begin. Tune into the Clay Edwards Show every Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., 103.9 FM WYAB. And now, streaming live right here wherever you're watching this video. We're streaming live. Set your reminder, 7 a.m. every weekday morning. Of course, you know I'm going to make extra content, put extra videos up. I'm going to clip that up. We do reels. We do it all from top to bottom. I don't think anybody in this town makes more content than I do. So with that said, y'all stay safe, stay blessed, and by all means, talk to your kids about doing dumb stuff like this. Too many resources are being wasted on dumbass threats. And a shout out to the SROs, school resource officers in Rankin County. Those guys always listen to the Clay Edwards Show. I appreciate them. And shout out to the ones at all the other schools for doing a great job. And I want to say especially Jackson, because with the propensity of them folks in Jackson to be violent and shoot each other on a regular basis, if it wasn't for the job they do at those schools with the metal detectors and the searching and, really anchoring down on that, those should, in theory, be a killing field. And I'm not saying that to be an asshole, but if you look at the age and the demographic of the kids killing one another in Jackson, 14 to 17 years old, that's high school age. The fact it's not happening in the high schools is a testament to the job those school resource officers and school security guards and administrators are doing over there. They ain't educating your kids worth a damn, but they are doing a hell of a job with keeping them safe. Can't fault them for that. Y'all stay blessed, stay safe, and you know what I'm going to say next. Avoid Jackson, Mississippi gas stations at all cost.